Hey guys, check this out. I am officially now sponsored by Dubby. Dubby is a clean energy drink made to give you focus with no crash. If you guys are like me, you're always needing a burst of energy, especially with one with no crash. Dubby contains vitamins, amino acids, a nootropic, and 150 milligrams of caffeine. It keeps me awake with no jitters, guys. Check it out. Merch link is in the bio. Dubby.
There's some people in this world that did not tune in to the Alliance Blog podcast. Shame on you!
Shame on you! My name is Ella Indy, and I'm one half of the NWA Women's World Tag Team Champion.
And I'm Kiki Page, the other half of the NWA World Women's Tag Team Champion.
And you better go listen to the Alliance Blog. What do you call it?
Podcast. Period.
Or you're ugly. You're power approved. All right.
Are you ready?
Power.
You want answers?
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers?
I want the truth.
You can't handle the truth.
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
I'm building an alliance.
God bless the internet.
Okay, let's party.
It's showtime.
It's time for the Alliance Guys podcast with your hosts Kevin Frazier, Jaden, DKM, and J. Cal.
Welcome to the Alliance Guys podcast, a presentation of alliance-wrestling.com, the premier source for news and information for the National Wrestling Alliance. My name is J. Cal, back home in the Alliance Blog studios, and I'm talking to my pals, Mr. DKM and Jaden. How are you, gentlemen?
I'm not.
You're not a gentleman, or you're not okay, or you're not existing?
I don't exist.
Fair. How about you, Mr. Jaden? How are you today?
I exist. That's about as well as I could say.
Well, then you're doing better than DK, aren't you?
Not necessarily. He could be non-corporeal.
All right, I don't know what that means, man.
He could be Schrodinger's DK, and he could exist and not exist at the same time.
You're going to have to dumb it down for me. Speak to me like I'm a 5-year-old.
He might be there.
A little bit slower, please.
He might be there.
Yay. Yay. This is a presentation of alliance-wrestling.com. As previously mentioned, the premier source for news and information for the National Wrestling Alliance. My name is J. Cal. His name is DK. His name is Jaden. We are the OG Alliance guys. We've been doing this podcast, Dog and Pony show for about, 17 years now? 16 years?
Once it hits 13, it's glorious.
Well, then it's glorious.
I don't see how it's possible considering I'm only 27.
You've been 27 for the last 40 years.
Something close to that, yeah. That's not the point.
That's not the point.
The point is I'm only 27.
By the way, happy 27th birthday. We said it on the pre-party. I don't know. I know you popped in later. I don't know if you heard me say it on the show, but it was really cool to spend a few days in your neck of the woods, not specifically your town, but we spent some time in the Fort Worth area. We spent some time in Dallas, and of course out there in Forney. And no one was getting horny in Forney. Not me.
No, not at all.
I don't know. I saw some of those LMA pictures.
That barbecue, though. that was the hottest thing in Texas right there.
You didn't see the right LMB pictures, I'll tell you that.
I walked away. Remember that.
You claim.
If my wife is listening, I walked away.
That is true. Of course, it was to get better pictures. That's not the point.
Well, none of that. It wasn't to get better pictures of that. By the way, we have been on the air for just over 5 minutes, and there's just a handful of you guys here on our YouTube channel and on X and on Twitch. We will talk about the Crockett Cup, but we're not going to go into a whole lot of details. I know that results have been posted PW Insider got some results, so I know those are out there if you want to know what happens. It's not hard to find it, but we try to remain spoiler-free on this podcast, on this live stream, because, well, some of you get to watch the show weekly, some of you don't, and I don't want to take that away from anybody. I don't want to ruin the show for you. Unlike
Real quick, does that mean Don Jardine can never be a guest on this show?
No, he cannot.
Absolutely not. And he knows why, Jaden. He knows why.
It is spoiler free.
It is spoiler free. It's a sucker free Sunday too. Oh, okay. So I'm gonna play a couple of video clips, a slideshow. Get your juice box ready. Enjoy. Sit back and check this out. So there was some fun stuff that happened in Forney, Texas.
Excuse me as I die over here.
Easy for you to say.
I enjoyed the show. I will say, for going in completely blind, I mean, basically only knowing one match or two. I guess we need two.
We need two.
That I overall enjoyed the show. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So kind of sat in the right corner for some stuff. And got to watch a cameraman almost lose his eye.
Oh my God. And that's my friend Shane. I did introduce you to him, right?
Yes.
Okay. Sometimes I'm really shitty at that, and I feel super bad about it. But yeah,
I mean, I had to ask you his name, but yes, you did finally introduce us.
So Shane is a cameraman for the NWA. Previously and continuously works for the United Wrestling Network's Championship Wrestling. Formerly had filmed on the Championship Wrestling from Arizona. Also does work with New Japan Strong, and really, I just found out recently he filmed some of the stuff that was at what was that promotion that Howard Brody did? Ring Warriors in Las Vegas. He helped out filming some of that. So good friend, known him for a very long time. And it's always fun to see him. I see him more out of state than I do in state, which is kind of ironic. But during the course of the evening, he was holding the camera, getting into position, and I'm not going to say whose leg, but a leg hit the camera into his face. Almost like a Van Daminator. It was pretty awesome and horrific at the same time. When he pulled the camera away, there was like this huge red welt on his face.
I believe it.
I felt so bad for the guy, and he didn't miss a beat. He didn't drop the camera. Like, if that would have been me, I probably would have dropped the camera and went home. But he was a true professional. Shout out to Shane. He's probably not watching, but I was very impressed with his professionalism.
I have a radio television production background, and I was doing camera work and didn't see a glass window and walked right into it.
Oh shit!
And gave myself a black eye right around the shape of that eye piece.
Yeah.
And so I could imagine, and it was padded, but it didn't really help. I could imagine somebody coming full force with a leg and dropping it down onto that, kicking it into his eye. How much that is not a comfortable feeling.
No. I'm gonna see if I can find that photo real quick. So let's stall for a little bit.
And DK, you're still
I was surprised by the amount of damage I saw. I mean, it didn't cut him, but it looks like it came close. It would have been interesting to see the next day.
The photo that I have does not really do it justice, but I'm gonna try to pull it up here. And I sent him the picture too, because I know that you have to celebrate those battle scars and whatnot. So let me see if I can pull that up here. But yeah, so my boy Shane, way to hang in there, man. Like that was a rough bump. Like that picture doesn't even do it justice. Like his above his eyebrow, it's very red. His nose on that right side is very red.
And all around that eye.
Yeah, the whole thing around the eye.
Did he used to take photos for the NWA too at one time?
I only know him as being a videographer. I never saw him with an actual like camera.
I remember seeing maybe it was a Championship Wrestling for Hollywood. Maybe it was something colors, maybe something where a like an actual photographer looked like a lot like him right there. That's why I was curious.
It just might have been me. We kind of look similar.
No, you look like Kevin Owens. Or Kevin Owens looks. Who's older? You were Kevin Owens.
I think technically I'm older.
So Kevin Owens looks like you.
You notice how though Jay keeps his beard in Kevin Owens style. When Kevin kept it close to the face, Jay kept it close to the face. Kevin grew it out, Jay grew it out.
That's absolutely not true. By the way, Kevin Owens was born in 84 and I was born in 78, so I'm significantly older than Kevin Owens.
Makes you feel any better. He looks older.
I've had a pretty good life. I'm not going to complain, man. I get to do a podcast with two of my buddies every week. I get to talk about the NWA. I get to travel a little bit. I don't have any complaints, really.
Real quick before we go any further, I have my fan on because it's hotter than I won't say. Can you hear it?
No, I can't hear it at all.
Okay, I just want to make sure because I'm hoping I didn't have to shut it off.
By the way, did you see the shirt that I'm wearing?
That's hilarious. I did not see it till now.
No, nobody's bought it, but it's available in the shop zone. If you want to have your own J-Cal on your body, get one today.
Somebody's got to buy LMB one.
Wait, one of you guys at a time.
BK first.
Don't say things like that, Jay.
I said somebody's got to buy LNB one. Can you believe? No, sorry.
And we'll get into Power in a little bit. Like, look, I don't really care to get so heavily involved in Power tonight, and I'm totally cool with making this an early show tonight. It's been a long week. Literally a week ago today, I was in Dallas. Friday night, DK and I went to a baseball game, which was a lot of fun. The Angels won.
A lot of fun for who?
It's fun for me and the 6 other Angel fans that were in that entire ballpark. And then the next night we went to Forney, and
it was a nice ballpark, right?
It was a beautiful ballpark. Look, as much as I dislike the team of the Texas Rangers, that is a beautiful ballpark. It's top notch. I don't think I've been in a prettier baseball stadium. And this year, I'm going to actually go to quite a few baseball fields. I mentioned this before, but I'll be in San Diego in a couple of weeks at Petco Field. I've been there before, but that's a very nice ballpark right there on the Pacific. And then I'm going to be in Oakland in June, late June, to see the Angels take on the Oakland Athletics at the ballpark in Alameda or Alameda Stadium, whatever they call it. And that place is a dump. That place is the worst ballpark I've ever been to. And I went to there to see a concert. And then I'll be in Philadelphia as part of the 76 celebration. And I will be checking out a Phillies versus Braves game. So I'm excited about that as well.
I just made a correlation.
You just what?
I made a correlation.
Sure.
They're going to be in Philly for the 76.
Yeah. Spirit of 76. Yeah. You just got that
on me now.
But hey, you know what? That's okay though. You're not the biggest NWA fan, so that's okay. It's all right.
At this point, I didn't realize it was the 76th anniversary until you said it. So,
our pal Traducus, who's watching us on Twitch, says, "I mean, raccoons live in the Oakland A's ballpark. No fucking joke."
That was awesome. Was that the? I saw that. What was it? It was for the Phillies team. It was the Philly team. They actually had a raccoon on the field, and it got its own top trading card and everything. It's awesome.
I have to go buy that one. Yeah, it's one of those deals where like my wife said, "Hey, you're going to go to one ballpark. You should go to as many as you can this summer." So I'll be going to a few. I've only ever seen baseball now. Of course, Angel Stadium. That's my home away from home. I've been to Dodger Stadium only like maybe 3 times. So in Petco, I got to see the World Baseball Classic, not actually MLB baseball, but I got to see the finals of Cuba versus Japan back in 2006. And then, of course, the ballpark, not the ballpark in Arlington, but Globe Life in Arlington, where I got to see the Rangers and the Angels. And what's weird is I'm in Arizona so frequently, I haven't caught a game there yet. And I know where the stadium is at. I've been around that area quite a bit. Steve G says, sure you'll be able to get tickets in Oakland, which is funny because nobody's going to games in Oakland because they're moving the team to Las Vegas as long as they get that stadium built. I guess they'll be in Sacramento next season. So that's our cool baseball talk.
Of course, you did learn one thing about a problem with having new, pretty stadiums. Ticket price?
Oh, yeah. The tickets weren't, they weren't cheap. They were, like the amount we paid for tickets, I think I paid a little bit more in Arlington than I would in Anaheim, but we sat in almost the same section that I'm used to sitting at Angel Stadium. So it was, I wasn't too put off by the price tag. Like I said, it's about what I had been paying anyways. So
hopefully sometime the NWA comes back to this area during the autumn and winter season so we can go to a Devils game.
I'd go to a Devils game. I guess out of all the professional sports, hockey would be my number 2. I've done a hell of a lot more hockey than anything else. I've been to one Lakers game my entire life. I have no desire to go to a soccer game. Sorry for those of you who love this sport. I've only been to one professional football game, and that was literally the day after I met my now wife, New Year's Eve, 2006, San Diego. It was the Chargers versus the Arizona Cardinals, and that's the last time I've seen a football game.
I stopped going to football games because when I went to the Philadelphia Screaming Chickens actually won. And I don't know, I just don't want them to win.
Screaming Chickens?
Yeah. Boo! Braves suck. Hate the Braves.
Trideca says PNC Park is nice and pirate tickets are cheap. Only problem is that I'm giving cheapo bottom line Bob Nutton my damn money. Wish he'd sell the team. See, I could go with you on that one, Trideca. It's like my owner sucks too. The Artie Marino, man, it's so sad how he came in and everyone was so excited and then he couldn't keep his hands out of the cookie jar. Not that he was taking money or anything. He just really signing shitty contracts. And then oh, come on, Jake. Why go to a Lakers game? Support the underdog. Go to Clippers. You mean the San Diego team? I still haven't accepted them as a Los Angeles team. And then Steve G just congratulated us on 18 years. It's me and my wife. Yeah, well, we started dating in literally like the last few days of 2006. She's pretty cool. I like her. Jaden's gonna get to meet her when we go to Philadelphia.
Yes.
And my kids.
Yes.
And DK, well, 2 of my kids. Lily's not coming, but DK got to meet all 3 of my kids.
I wish DK would come too.
Yeah, I don't think he wants to come.
I'll make sure he sits in the good corner again.
Real quick, our friend Willie Bowen says, "Hi guys, Rolando Freeman should be involved in a 3-way match with Meanie Smurf and Grumpy from the Dwarfs." Did you mean Grumpy? Because Grumpy's even funnier.
He kind of changed his name.
Yeah.
Grumpy.
Solomon Grumpy.
Oh boy. So hey, good night everybody. No, just kidding.
Solomon Grumpy wants to wear pants too. All right.
What? What the hell was that?
There was. We used to have these bumpers in between shows on the Cartoon Network where they would redub over classic cartoons, and they redubbed over the Justice League, and it was during the Legion of Doom segment. And Solomon Grundy doesn't wear pants, and they were somebody, one of the Legion of Doom was talking about all they wanted was pants, and Solomon Grundy goes, Solomon Grundy want pants too.
Wait, why doesn't Solomon Grundy wear pants?
Wasn't drawn that way.
Every time I've seen him, he's had pants on.
Look up the old Justice League.
Oh man,
cartoon.
Was he wearing shorts?
Yes.
Okay.
He wasn't walking around with his Solomon Grundy hanging out.
Well, no, but I mean, there's ways of drawing it where it's like, you said that was the Justice League cartoon, not the Justice League.
It was the Super Friends, I guess would be most accurate.
Friends. All right, let's see. No, man, they show him with pants on, like ripped pants, but he's got pants on.
Solomon Grundy from the Super Friends?
That's what I did. That's what I clicked on. I mean, I guess they're more. No, they're like cutoffs. I'll pull it up here. Give me just a second. I love how weird the show gets sometimes. We're talking about Solomon Grundy's underpants. More at 11. What's always funny is explaining the downloads on my computer later. Yeah, he's wearing pants.
Yeah, he is. I don't know what's going on.
That's weird. Not as weird as us talking about it, but still weird.
Yeah.
Traduck has called it. He had pants that were ripped into shorts. Okay, that's fair. In that photo, though, those don't look like pants. They just look like they got hemmed too high. Just wish I was too high.
You should try to find the video. It's hilarious.
Steve G says, what's up with the UWN showing like original telecasts from their first year? I actually have an update on what's happening in United Wrestling Network. And part of the reason that they're not closed. I want to make sure that we're all aware that they're still actively they're still involved with the business of wrestling. We just haven't seen any championship wrestling for multiple reasons. The first of which is that Thunder Studios is undergoing renovations. So their home there has been kind of shut down for at least the time being. And that's where they were going to film their TV shows. Now, they used to film in Irvine, and they have been trying to get another date in Irvine to film television again. But they also, they had some sponsorship deals that kind of fell apart. And, there just wasn't the money to produce the live shows. That's the fact. I know that there are several pots in the stokes in the fire. Is that the phrase? Stokes in the fire? We know that Dave Marquez, as an individual, started working with MLW again, doing live segments and producing behind the scenes. We know that there's a relationship developing between the United Wrestling Network and Booker T's Reality of Wrestling. We've seen Danny Limelight defend the UWN World Championship in Puerto Rico. He's taken that title to Reality Wrestling in Houston, and he's defended that title in a few other spots as well. All the while gaining more championship gold and notoriety throughout the world of professional wrestling, and there has been some changes with the creative in Hollywood. Our friend of the show, Danny Hill, left the company, and so they have some turnover. There's some things happening, but I feel like soon they will be back in Irvine with probably like a bare bones type crew. It won't be everybody. And as things start to continue to, things continue to move in the right direction, we'll see them back in Thunder Studios before the end of the year. We'll see more tapings there as well. And, who knows? The date July 6th has been spoken about a lot, but I can't say anything more than that. So keep your peepers open. There's stuff happening. Still a better fashion choice than what Bruce Tharp wears. Talk about my man, White Lotus. Oh, wait, no, that wasn't his name.
No, it wasn't White
Jones. Lavender Jones.
White Lavender Jones.
That's it. Aaron Stevens is no longer connected to the United Wrestling Network in any fashion. So Aaron Stevens is not a part of Championship Wrestling, Memphis, any of it. He's an NWA talent and NWA employee He's not connected to the United Wrestling Network. Steve G says, what worries me is their talents. I'm afraid a lot will leave them. That's kind of what always happens, though, for a lot of these promotions. I mean, we even see it in the NWA. There is turnover. You know, the talent will stay there until greater opportunities become available to them. And once those opportunities come up, they take them. And that's just the nature of the beast when you're promoting without contracts. Any talent that's not under a contract can leave at any time for any reason. So I hear you, Steve. You know, so like a guy like, for example, I don't know how much longer somebody like Bad Dude Tito is going to stick around in the United Wrestling Network when he's literally being flown to Chicago to MLW. He just won their open weight championship. He's been competing in CMLL in his tag team with Che Cabrera. They are the United Wrestling Network tag team champions, but they're also competing in Mexico this weekend with CMLL. And then Tito himself has been a part of New Japan, whether it be teaming with the TMDK or wrestling in the UK. I mean, that guy has been everywhere. So at some point, he's going to outgrow what the United Wrestling Network can provide him. And that's just, you know, that's kind of what it is.
Unlike Tyrus, who outgrew the solar system and the universe.
Tyrus outgrew everything that's ever been put in front of him.
Very true.
Okay, so
what's going on in the NWA?
Well, I have some kind of interesting news.
Okay.
It's stuff that we've been talking about for a while, but there's more context for things. Now, obviously, you know, we've been talking about this guy, the Overman, because he is literally, you know, although the fanfare in the NWA, I feel like is kind of quieted down a little bit for the Overman. I mean, he's just a few days away from jumping on a plane to go to Japan to defend the title in All Japan Pro Wrestling. We talked about that a couple weeks ago. He'll be taking on Ryuki Honda, who is the regular tag team partner for the current Triple Crown champion in All Japan. So I don't know if this matchup is going to have any implications for the NWA or if this is just a one-off, a one-time deal with EC3 and Ryuki Honda. But, you know, as DK and I were speaking about last week, there seems to be more and more relationships building with the wrestling promotions in Japan and wrestling promotions in the United States. DK, like, you know, what are some of the examples of promotions working with, you know, U.S. counterparts from Japan?
Well, Noah seems to be working with WWE. New Japan is working with AEW, which kind of leads to some weirdness because New Japan also works with CMLL, and CMLL hates AAA, and AAA is working with.
That one's a weird dynamic right there.
And so AAA was also working with TNA. So, and with the NWA a little bit. So I don't know where all that's at. But yeah, they're certainly teaming up with people in other countries is something that's going on in wrestling right now.
Real quick, I got to pull up this line, or two lines actually, because you guys are getting funny in the chat. First of all, Willie Bowen says, "Hey Jaden, that's copyright infringement," which is totally fair. You know, he's got you on this one. And then Traducus says, "Since people keep starting rumors that the UWN and NWA are at war, I'm going to go out on a limb and say the UWN's next acquisition will be DRC Retsky, the original basis of Smashing Pumpkins." What did you always say, Jaden, about the bassist and that Billy doesn't love bassists or something like that?
Yeah, he doesn't get along with him for some reason. That's why I don't think him and I would ever be able to work together.
I did get to see Billy.
Yeah, he was up and he was sitting high up and like waving down to all the peons below.
Oh no, I was about
Oh yeah, you did. I didn't. You did.
No.
Your burritos.
Yeah, well, I was out getting food, which is something we talk about with that show, setup and stuff like that.
Well, we'll get into it.
Yeah. Yeah, he was getting in the elevator to go up so that he could hang out and, lord over us.
So Steve G says he thinks that TK silently owns New Japan Pro Wrestling.
I don't, because TK doesn't do anything silently.
Well, not only that, but people are leaving New Japan to sign with AEW, so that would be...
Those are just called contract reassignments, bro.
Well, kind of like their contract reassignments with ROH. It's there would be a little more flow back and forth. Let's just say that.
I'm curious now. I wonder how much New Japan Pro Wrestling is worth.
Looking to buy it?
Well, no, but if
with that W money,
no, but is that something that Tony Khan could even afford if he wanted to just outright purchase it? But I don't think I answered the right question because
no, but his father probably could.
Yeah, for sure. While we were out there, DK and I were joking around about wrestling promotions and finding homes for wrestling promotions, and literally down the street from my kids' school, there's a place called the Music Barn, and it's exactly what it sounds like. It's an old barn, and it's not currently opened. It's not available on the real estate, but I'm thinking, man, wouldn't that be an awesome little venue to have? A little barn for like live concerts and pro wrestling. Man, I'm just waiting for that W money to come in. You guys want to buy some W? Got some great flavors here. We got Calio Cream, which is like a mango orange. There's a Big Energy Tears. It's like a blue raspberry. There's the Beach and Peach, which combines beach and peach flavors. Galaxy.
That's my favorite.
I don't know what beach flavors are, but it's actually one of my favorite flavors.
The peach one's my favorite.
Yeah, the Beach and Peach.
Yeah.
The son of a beach. And then Trideca says they are worth more than AEW. New Japan is the second largest promotion in the world.
One time I would agree, but they've had some hard times.
Wait, how dare you, sir? You do not say hard times without using a dusty accent.
I started to say it, then got into it, laid into it. Hard times, baby.
Hard time, daddy. You got some hard times. Lou Thez is in the house. What's up, Lou? Lou's my
Hello, ladies.
I haven't thought about that guy in a very long time. Thanks for bringing that up into my head.
Sorry about that.
We've bored DK to death. Look at him over there. He's just on his phone looking at.
I'm sorry.
He's swiping left. He's swiping right. He's going to get it on a date tonight. Well, number 3 is CML. So if they drop number 2, would be them. AEW is number 4. I think at this point, because, so CML is a big deal, but they are a big deal in Mexico and really only in Mexico. I could be wrong, but I don't see where they really do much outside of Mexico. And even some of their, of course, their core area is Mexico City, but once outside of Mexico City, a lot of times they do joint efforts, joint shows, co-promoted shows. Like the show I was supposed to go to on this Saturday, Lucha Libre, was supposed to be a CMLL powered event, and apparently it got canceled.
Oh,
yeah, I was kind of bummed out because I was. It's like every Saturday this weekend I was at a wrestling show, and it got stopped for Saturday.
I really would have thought AEW would have been number 2 because they're shit.
So the thing with AEW is they're having their own broadcasting issues, not issues, but a lot of speculation that they're not going to be renewed for Warner Brothers Discovery.
Yeah.
You don't think so?
No, I
think EMLL, me, damn it.
I think they will. I think it's just. Well, what am I trying to say? I don't know that they'll get the great deal. they'll probably get enough to where they're able to say, "Oh, we signed for more money," but I don't know that they'll get a massively impressive deal.
Well, it's like so I was kind of shocked when it was announced that the WWE signed with Netflix, because a lot of people thought, like, well, if there was a company, like a streaming service that would make sense for the WWE, it would have to be Amazon, because Amazon's one of the biggest online retailers across the globe, and like you could literally incorporate your WWE Shop Zone, whatever they call it these days, directly into Amazon, and that would be just one more added benefit of that co-opted type of agreement. But then you think about, like, AEW could definitely benefit from being on Amazon. They could definitely benefit from getting something right with merchandising and having the ability to advertise right to their audience and selling merchandise right there. To me, that makes a lot of sense. And if they do lose Warner Brother Discovery, I mean, Amazon has said that they want to win the night. They signed up Monday Night Football, or I guess Thursday Night Football, because they wanted to win Thursday nights. But what if they turned around and added, an AEW promotion, be it, not promotion, but show, whether it be Collision on Saturdays or Dynamite or Rampage, on Wednesday or Thursday, or Wednesday or Friday. That makes a lot of sense to me.
If they can't get any of that deal, there's always Destination America.
You Destination America. Yeah, that's true. I feel like especially with Netflix, like that, just the pairing itself seemed kind of odd to me. And I know that I'm not the only person that thought that. I thought for sure it was always going to be Amazon Prime. So I was kind of shocked that it was Netflix. But what people don't really remember is Netflix was the granddaddy of the streaming services. They were the first ones to really kind of break through. So I don't know.
Well, I mean, push come to shove, it's all about.
Yeah.
So we can say, well, this one seems to make more sense, or this one seems to be a better fit. Well, which one offered the?
Traducus says not. AEW is going to Crackle.
I thought maybe it was going to Colors.
Oh, that took it way back. For those of you who don't know, Colors was the home for about 9 episodes of NWA Pro Wrestling Showcase back in like 2004, 2005.
What about MAV TV?
That was also the home of an NWA program, the NWA Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, for a short time. Steve G says, Jay, after this year, does Peacock still own WWE pay-per-views? As far as it's been spoken and what I've read about, what we know is that the deal with Netflix is only going to be for Raw in the United States. Outside of the United States, the entire WWE network is on Netflix. Peacock is only an American-produced streaming service, kind of like the CW. So when we talk about the WWE network, it is, up until recently, it was still its own standalone streaming service outside of the U.S. Now it will be partnered with Netflix outside of the U.S. Inside the U.S., all those pay-per-view deals, all that stuff is still directly connected to Peacock. I don't know if that ever is going to change, because Peacock is still in the WWE business. They still have SmackDown. And although NXT is leaving to go to the CW network, it still has a lot of content as part of the WWE libraries is still hosted on Peacock in the United States.
When it comes up for renewal, it'll be like everything else.
Yeah.
Damn it, I was going to say that.
The Daily Motion?
Yeah.
Daily Motion. So the other day, this was in the Discord, somebody was like, I don't know even how it came up. We started talking about the title. The WWE has the Speed title that's now featured on X. And they have those matches exclusively on X. And I'm like, this is a wonderful idea. And
never seen one.
Huh?
I've never seen one.
I've only watched one or two. but I think it's such a good idea that they should do this in other places, right? So like, I'm thinking like, as a whole, the WWE could like, they were doing that Raw Underground stuff where it was like more like mixed martial art kind of style of wrestling, and it was presented as a more real environment. Like, strike up a deal with World Star, right? World Star, that's the show, that's the YouTube not channel, but the platform that used to have all like the street fights and stuff. Jaden, back me up on this. I'm not crazy, am I?
I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about.
You've never heard of World Star?
It was not a cartoon in the 80s.
Oh, Jesus.
That was Brave Star. Never mind.
You're killing me here.
Yeah, right now they're doing Underground on NXT from time to time.
Well, I'm just saying, like, you could do that, or how.
Oh, yes, I understand your thing. That's
back in the day, the WWE had bra and panty matches. Well, have an OnlyFans account for the WWE that people could subscribe to, and put your bra and panty matches there. It's a win-win. Everybody wins.
Nick Khan wants to do Lucha Libre.
Does he really?
Yeah, it's from an older interview, but basically he was saying he wanted something for like every weeknight.
I don't hate the idea, but if they're gonna do Lucha Libre, they need to do it right. They can't do like. I don't trust the WWE to do Lucha Libre the right way. I will say this: they did one thing right when they brought in Rey Mysterio. They made sure he had the mask back on, which was a whole thing to get him to put the mask back on. Because in Mexico, when you lose that mask, it's sacred. It's bond. It's word. When he lost that mask in WCW to Kevin Nash, like they did it to help build him up as this giant killer, but it really it pissed off a lot of people in Mexico. And so when he lost the mask, when he started wrestling back in Mexico again after leaving WCW, he wasn't allowed to put the mask back on, and they had to petition the athletic commission in Mexico to regain that status to wear the mask again. This isn't just like storyline. Like, legitimately, they had to do this to kind of get things going, because the WWE only wanted Rey Mysterio if he could wear the mask. They didn't want him maskless.
It looked like they were hiring 12-year-old kids then. That's why.
Well, have you seen him, like, even today without his mask on? Like, you hear his voice, and he sounds so old, but he still looks like he could be like 18, 19, 20.
Looks like Hasbulla now.
Oh, shit.
But that not having the mask, that was a WCW stupidity thing. That was.
Oh yeah, it was a dumb move then. It's a dumb move now.
Well, they took the mask off almost all of them.
Yeah. Well, Juventud Guerrera was the first one I remember, and then shortly after,
he looked much better with the mask.
Yeah. Well, he Juventud Guerrera is an NWA wrestler now because he is part of Crossfire. He's the Crossfire heavyweight champion. Don't you know? And I think that's kind of it's interesting. It's fun.
Is there a leak there?
Is what?
Crossfire?
What about him?
Crossfire is the one. Where's Crossfire out of?
That's the one that's in Tennessee. That's the Page sisters. That's Kylie.
Okay.
Yeah, and he's been champion for quite a while. I think that's just all kind of interesting, and
maybe he has a chance at another title.
Yeah. Well, so I completely have been bouncing around because we were talking about our guy over here, Mr. EC3, the world's heavyweight champion, how he's going to Japan, how he'll be in our friend's neck of the woods in Australia. Well, my friend, I guess, not your guys' friend. Our pal Pole Jump has him booked on Saturday, June the 15th in Australia. But before that happens, he's actually going to be in my backyard on June 7th. June 9th, and he'll be taking on Honest John, who is a well-known name out here in Southern California, but he is far from a top contender for the 10 pounds of gold. I don't even know if the title is on the line, to be quite honest, but they do acknowledge he is the NWA World's Heavyweight Champion, and I will be at this show. I will be at the event with EC3 and Honest John, because I found out it's got a 6 p.m. bell time, so I'm going to be able to make it. I'm excited.
Question.
Yay!
Do you have a signature on your belt?
I do, and I talked about this on Tuesday, but he won it in St. Louis when he beat Tyrus, and then the following night I drove to Nashville, and graciously enough, friend of the show Gary Horn, who does work for the NWA, offered to grab my belt, hand it to EC3, the essential character, and he did sign my title. So I do have that signed. But I will say this, as far as NWA World Champions go, there's only a handful of them that have defended the title in Southern California in the last couple of years. Obviously, Nick Aldis did it. I was here for pretty much all of Nick Aldis's world title defenses in Southern California. I was there for obviously Adam Pearce's title defenses in Southern California, Colt Cabana's defenses in California, Blue Demon Jr.'s defenses in California. Oddly enough, I never saw the Sheik defend the title in California. It's weird.
Huh.
It's like nobody booked him or anything. It was the strangest thing. But then, yeah. So, let me turn this off. My phone's about to die.
Who are you missing that's still with us?
Who am I missing?
Tyrus.
No. Oh yeah. Tyrus is missing because I don't think I want to have Tyrus sign it. So let's go backwards, right? Let's go back to the 80s because I don't have the signature of Wildfire Tommy Rich. I do not have the signature of Barry Windham. I don't know if Tatsuji Fujinami is still alive. I don't have his signature.
He is, and okay.
I don't have the signature of Hiroyoshi Tenzin. I don't have the signature of Steve Corino or Mike Rapata or Sabu. I do have Shane Douglas. I do have Dory Funk Jr. I do have Harley Race before he passed away. Ric Flair's on there. Rick Steamboat is on there. I don't have Tokyo Monster Kahagas. I have AJ Styles. I have Raven, but I don't have Ron the Truth Killings. I don't have Christian. I don't have
Rhino.
I have Sting.
Jeff Jarrett.
Yes, Jeff Jarrett.
Dan Severn.
Yeah, I do have Dan Severn and Ken Shamrock. Got them at the same time. It was a twofer. I don't have Brent. Yeah, I don't have Brent Albright. I don't think that he's like one of the harder ones to get because he doesn't go to conventions or anything. I do have Cody. I have Nick. I have Tim Storm. I have Jack Stain. I have Kojima. This is such an interesting conversation. I'm sure everybody's enthralled by this.
What about France's greatest athlete, Rob Conway?
No, I don't. I would like to get Rob Conway's.
I wish he still wrestled. I think if Lightning, as much as I like the Tim Storm thing, if Lightning One would have bought the NWA in the Conway era, I think that would have been great.
I kind of agree with you, and I still think, like, look, this was secondhand information, so I don't know how true it is, but apparently Conway was booked to be at a few of the new NWA events, and he no-showed, and it kind of soured, at least then, who was in charge of talent on Conway, but he's still young enough. Like, look, he's younger than Tim Storm, and he still works somewhat regularly. He would be a perfect addition to the roster. And honestly, for somebody like EC3 to have a victory over a guy like Rob Conway, there's so much history there. And I get it. Like, the NWA is so, like, it's like they cut off their nose to spite their face sometimes, because they love to acknowledge Ric Flair. They love to acknowledge Rick Steamboat. They love to acknowledge Lou Thez and Gene Kaninsky and all of that. But then when it gets to modern NWA, like, they don't want to talk about Jeff Jarrett. They don't want to talk about Christian. They don't want to talk about Adam Pearce or Blue Demon or Colt Cabana. And it's like, those guys are a heck of a lot more accessible than some of the other ones, you know. Sure, you're not going to be able to get Adam Pearce on programming now, but like, there was a point in time where they could have had Christian Cage show up. Willie's asking about Jack Briscoe or Dusty Rhodes. I do not. Unfortunately, I got this belt in like I want to say like 2015 or 2014, something like that. And
When
it's
was Claiborne?
Huh?
When was Claiborne?
2013.
And you probably got it 2014.
Yeah. It was a gift from a very nice gentleman who sent that belt to me.
I just remember you had a picture of Claire with a pacifier in the belt.
For a while there, I had she had this little pink floating shelf in her room, and I just hung it up there because I didn't know what to do with it. I didn't have a place yet to do video podcasts, and so I just left it in her room. And her mom was like, "What the hell is that?" Hey, that's world title, babe. You should be proud.
You have Trevor Murdoch.
I do. Trevor was interesting because I got Trevor to sign it after Matt Cardona, and I do have Matt Cardona as well. I got Trevor to sign it after Matt Cardona won the title. And Trevor, I didn't think was going to sign it. And again, Gary helped me out with that. He introduced me to Trevor, and Trevor seemed so genuinely happy to sign it. There's been like a handful of guys who seem genuinely happy to sign it. Trevor was one of those guys. Jack Stain was one of those guys. Tim Storm was one of those guys. And like, they were just happy to sign it. And then Murdoch got that second run with the title, which I thought was really cool.
I wish Gary would help get Murdoch on this Alliance guys, because he's somebody I would love to talk to.
He's probably one of the more aloof guys to get on a podcast, but I have been told that there are some people who are interested in coming on, and we just kind of have to lock down some dates, and that is, you know, having some friends of friends pull some favors for us. So yes, I would love to have Trevor on. I would love to have Tom Latimer on. I'd love to have Ella Envy on. I'd love to have Kenzie Page on. I would love to have Misa K on. I would love to have we haven't had Alex Taylor on. We had Silas Mason. We had Kerry Morton. I wouldn't mind having all three of those guys on at once and see how weird that is.
What about Ricky Morton?
Yeah.
DK's face says it all.
It's negotiable, I guess.
I'm sick that day.
Oh,
thank God, guys! He'd be great. He was probably the most known out of everybody you mentioned.
Yeah, no, I mean,
he'd probably get you the most.
And he would be like a total sweetheart and put over the show like Doink the Clown did, and just say how great we are. And we're talking shit about him for the last like 5 years. Damn, Jay, you're an asshole. Anyway. Yeah. So, okay. So let's talk about Crockett Cup because we have been jumping around. And DK, we started the show. You started talking about your experience and what you thought about the show. You said that overall, going in blind, it was still a pretty fun show. Let's talk about some of and I don't want to give away too much, but there was a lot of things that didn't make sense during the show. How did you feel as a spectator, somebody who, for the most part, watches every episode of Power? How did it feel to be there live and then like just be completely lost because some of the stuff had been already presented through storyline that we weren't privy to?
There were two specific examples that were weird because I didn't know how to react.
Yes. And
I didn't know what the dynamic was supposed to be.
Yeah.
And so I will slightly spoil one, the non-important one, but Tim Storm comes out as Baron von Storm, doing a Baron von Raschke gimmick and using the claw, and it kind of kind of giving looks like he had a stroke or something and forgot who he was. And Jax was out there as his like manager corner man, which is kind of funny considering the age is there. And it was, it's like Tim can't feel anything anymore. And is just after going for the claw. And it was very bizarre. And I'm not going to say who he wrestled or anything like that, but it was one of those things like, I'm assuming this gets explained on the show. I would recommend he shave his head because his hair was real short and he's balding anyway. But I would recommend he go ahead and shave his head and go complete Baron Von Raschke. But who, by the way, was a Big 8 champion for the state of Nebraska as an amateur. And I don't know. I didn't know how to respond. I wasn't sure if he was supposed to be a face or a heel. The crowd wasn't sure if he was supposed to be a face or a heel. Even in reacting to his opponent, who they weren't sure if he was supposed to be a face. And so it was very, very bizarre. That was like the one thing of the night. Like if they had cut it out and left it out, it wouldn't have meant much. There's another thing I wish they had cut out and left out because it was just. This wasn't even stupid. It was just bizarre.
Did he shoot lightning out of his fingers and yell, "Do it"?
No, but he might as well have.
I mean, he would walk. He's like got this gimmick now where he'll put like the claw on a fist, and you're just kind of like going, "Okay, this is odd."
Well, so DK, did you watch this week's Power or no?
Honestly, I have not watched it.
Okay, so they kind of started to build into this character, I think, on this episode. But again, if that was going to be such a radical thing, then that match should have definitely happened last week, so that the fans who were there wouldn't have been so like just surprised. When you look at this guy who, when he walked out, I didn't even know it was him, right? Because he had the robe over his head, and then. And Jax was with him, and I'm a big Jax Dane guy. I love that guy. That guy,
yes. Who saw you but not me sitting right next to you?
Well,
I'll remember that, Jax.
He did have sunglasses on,
and I saw Kevin Owens.
Well, I did yell out. I said, "Hey, champ, you're looking like $1 million." So I buttered the bread before he turned around.
Well, I said something to him. He just never looked my way. So fine. I'll remember this.
So in and of itself, it was the same like dynamic. Our buddy Jax was there with his guy, but it was just this weird dynamic because it wasn't the same person. It was the same name, but it wasn't the same gimmick. It wasn't the same like move set. It wasn't the same mannerisms. But like they kind of bleached into that on this week's episode of Power when we learned how Looks That Kill advanced in the first round of the Crockett Cup by defeating Jax and Tim when Markova got into the ring tonight or on Tuesday night. She did connect with her spinning leg kick in the wheel, the spinning leg kick in the corner. She knocked Jax Dane down and then came in and was able to connect on Tim. And then Tim kind of snapped and he put her in the claw and refused to let go. And as Markova screaming in agony, Brian Idol is very effortlessly trying to get Tim off. Jax isn't really trying too hard to get Tim off. Mims comes out for no apparent reason. Austin Idol comes out with Scion, and it just, this whole schmoz happened at the end. It was kind of a stooge, but I'm assuming like that's where we saw the birth of this gimmick. And one thing that Billy kept saying during the commentary, because Billy did special commentary, is that he asked Tim, "Hey, when are you going to retire?" And he said, "Never. I'm never going to retire." So, I mean, we might just be seeing the evolution, as it were, in the NWA.
If he continues to wrestle for 200 or 300 years, it'll actually look like Baron von Raschke.
Like Baron von Raschke did when he was a teenager.
He was never not old, was he?
No.
Did he ever have muscles, or was he always dilapidated?
No, he actually had a wrestler's build at one time. He looked like an athlete. He had pecs and everything. So there was a time when he was young, he looked like a wrestler, but he still looked like he was about 83.
You sure just not thinking of his action figure from Remco?
No, it was from when he wrestled in Nebraska. So it's just interesting. Just
somewhere I have that Baron von Raschke Remco figure. The other thing that I did want to point out.
Well, I do want to say just real quick.
No, go
that
ahead.
He did look like somebody who had snapped. I mean, that was my statement to you. Even I guess he snapped during the tapings.
He probably read the booking.
Well, that would have caused me to snap, but
that was kind of a weird thing that happened at the show. And again, without the explanation, it's just like DK and I weren't the only ones there who watched the show. The guy sitting next to us, he told me, "I haven't watched the NWA since they left YouTube," and I'm like, "Oh, okay." And he didn't really care. He was just there because, hey, it's in Forney, it's in my backyard. I'm here to watch wrestling. Very nice guy. But he didn't care if angles didn't follow through. He was telling me that he went to an NXT taping and he's like, "I loved it because I got to be on TV for like 4 weeks in a row." And I'm like, guess what? Sometime around July, you'll be on TV for 4 weeks in a row.
You'll be on CW. Yep.
CW proper, right?
Yeah. No, still CW on the network.
Somebody said, I thought maybe I read it wrong.
That was a joke. Someone was trying to rib us in the Discord.
Gotcha.
I don't know if it was James H. Jackson or if it was Sam Retro, but one of them shared it with me privately, and then the other one posted it in the Discord, and it was like, "Oh shit," because I saw it too, and I thought, "Wow," but I didn't want to talk about it because I didn't hear it from a reliable source yet, and my name isn't Certified Hustler. I like to make sure that I don't I don't try to make the news. I just report the news.
That reminds me of something I just saw. Somebody was actually talking about that they believe that if they could do it properly, they could actually broadcast on the moon similar to the Sphere in Las Vegas. That'll be just a perfect medium to broadcast the best virus matches.
So, Jay, was there anything else in particular when you were there that kind of threw you for a loop?
What was the other weird thing you were talking about, DK?
I don't want to get into because of too much.
Stay on at the end then and tell me about it.
Well, okay, so I guess we could talk about it because they did allude to it on television this week.
Did they?
Yeah. And
I didn't watch, so.
And I'll start off by doing this, right? Because not only has it been a while since they've been the tag team champions, but I don't think I could, in good faith, play this anymore.
Can you believe that there's some people in this world that did not tune in to the Alliance Vlog podcast? Shame on you!
Shame on you. My name is Ella Indy, and I'm one half of the NWA Women's World Tag Team Champion.
And I'm Kinsey Page, the other half of the NWA World Women's Tag Team Champion.
And you better go listen to the Alliance Vlog. What is it called?
Podcast, period.
Or you're ugly. Free and power approved. All right.
And so in good conscience, it's kind of hard to play that video anymore, knowing full well that on this week's episode of Power, Kyle Davis broke the news to Kenzie that, in fact, Ella Envy did put her name in contention for a number one contendership match for a shot at the Burke. And evidently, this is where it is spoiled. And I'm sorry, guys, but it's kind of hard to report the news if we don't report on some of it. Why does that look like shit? I just downloaded it. Let me try that again. Did that look bad for you guys too, or is it just my end?
Very bad.
Okay. Let's try this again.
It looked like a Dame Doll match.
How about that? That looks a little bit better.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Kinsey Page defended the title against Ella Envy.
And no one was more heartbroken to see that than your boy Jay.
And Ella had somebody in her corner. And you figure it out if you saw the picture. And Kylie was in Kinsey's corner. And so there was no reference to Pretty Empowered or anything like that. So I'm assuming that gimmick is over. And it's now just going to be like the Page sisters.
Can they be called the Page Turners?
Only if they have librarian gimmicks.
There actually was a Page Turner that wrestled here.
And she had a librarian gimmick.
Oh, yeah.
I saw a dancer at Kashmir like that once.
Yeah. Did she wrestle or was she just part of the pre-show?
She was wrestling a pole.
Oh, my God. By the way, Willie Bowen says the Bootylicious King Bee should have promo spots on the Alliance guys. They are the NWA Women's Tag Team Champions. See, Willie, I don't disagree with you whatsoever, right? Like, you are 100% right. However, it's kind of hard to get these promos. What you don't understand is, like, the way I got our girl Ella and our girl Kenzie to do that promo with us to as part of this show. Well, I slipped them a 20 and said, hey, could you guys film something to promote this podcast? And that was all them. Like, they came up with that entire dialogue in like 2 minutes. I was so impressed by that. Like, I was blown away by both of them, their ability to just come up with that on the fly. And like, look, I'm not saying it was like Shakespeare or anything, but the fact that they improvised that so quickly was was such a cool thing to see. And you know, Sal the Pal's over there. He didn't even ask for money. He just said, "Can I cut one for you?" And it was a little bit weirder. It doesn't.
I want to see it. You have it still?
Yeah. Okay. Stall, and I'll look for it.
All right, DK.
Stall.
No, you can't do that. That's not good for TV.
That's okay. We're doing a podcast. DK. So, how was the match? Was it actually? Did they work well together against each other?
Very well. I won't say it was the show stealer, but it was a. There's only one match that was just absolutely horrible, bad, very Billy Corgan, and it sucked to high heaven.
Oh yeah.
In fact, when it started, I got up and walked out.
What was the match?
You can't say without giving up too much information and shit.
Yeah.
Okay, stay at the end and tell me.
I was going to say, if you look at the results, you'll figure it out.
I probably did, and I probably intentionally put my mind over. That's why I didn't acknowledge it. I have done that in the past where something I didn't want to exist, I actually didn't. I don't physically remember looking at.
You willed it out of existence.
Oh, if I can do that to a lot of things.
There are some people that better be glad I don't have that ability.
Did you guys hear that or no?
No.
Hear what?
Nothing. Nothing at all.
I think this new Sal one should replace.
Well, maybe we will. It's uploading right now, so give it just a second. I'm doing the best I can, gentlemen. I'm one man.
I can. Real quick, I can't say anything definite, but if something happens in October and you guys both come down, I'll make sure you get lots and lots of bumpers from various talents and Daredevil Dave Daw.
Why would we want anything from Daredevil Dave Dahl?
It's one of my favorites, guys.
Yeah, for some reason, Jay likes him. He's the avocado of professional wrestling.
I'm an Angels fan. I root for losers.
Good point. Good point. Hey, I remember them.
That was a fun time.
Hey, Jaden.
Yes.
Look in the private chat. Sorry, guys. You all are not going to be in this one.
Dave, the Joe Alonso match caught me off guard. I wasn't expecting that one either, and that was a good match. I
really enjoyed that one, and I didn't even care for his opponent that much.
Alonso
in general, but I really enjoyed the match.
Joe Alonso is a pretty good worker, and I will say that. Like I don't want to take anything away from him. He's a smart ass. He's kind of a shit, but he backs it up with his in-ring work. We all thought that Homicide was going to murder him back at the 75th anniversary show, and he actually
he did for most of the match.
Sure, but he went out there and he took his looks like a champ. All right, now presenting to you Salvation's bump for the Alliance blog.
The Alliance blog, the Alliance blog, the Alliance blog, the Alliance blog. Alliance? If you put an S in front of Alliance, you have Salliance. That's me.
I love it. I love it. The Salliance guys.
I love it.
Well, da.
All right, Jay. I guess we're going to have to put that in there instead of.
That is awesome.
The former tag team champion.
We need some graphics and some rainbow colors and.
Rainbow colors?
Yeah,
you need a closed caption on it. It's what you need so people can actually understand what he's saying.
I can do that, by the way.
Rainbow colors and floating cartoons around. You ever see the Brady Bunch movie when got the second Brady Bunch movie when the guy was eating the mushrooms?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I want.
And it turned into the Brady Bunch TV show? Yeah.
Yes. Somebody had to be doing mushrooms for that TV show to be the way it was.
I feel like I've been doing mushrooms all night.
What are you trying to say, Jay?
I'm saying I'm tired, and it's been a long week. So last night, we didn't even talk about this. Last night, I saw I guess it's really my favorite band of all time. I go back and forth between saying Tool is my favorite band, but last night I went and saw Pearl Jam, and
intentionally,
it was awesome. It's the third time I've seen them. And I was very happy with the show. The only problem is, and if you're a Pearl Jam fan, you'll understand this, they didn't close with Yellow Ledbetter, and I was very disappointed.
Yeah, I can understand that. Did they play his new song that just came out?
Yeah, they played a couple from the new track, the new album. They played a few from the last album, but they didn't even play my favorite from the last album, which was Quick Escape. I love that song. It's such a cool sound. But they did play the Dance of the Clairvoyants, which was a lot of fun. They did go heavy into rotation with the first two albums, so there was a lot from 10 and Versus. But I was telling my wife after, I don't think they played anything from Binaural. I don't think they played anything from the third album, which I can't think of right now. They didn't play anything from the Avocado album, so it was kind of look, they have a huge catalog, so I get it. They can't play everything, but I was surprised in some of the choices. We got Alive and Even Flow and Jeremy, and I'm like, yeah, these are great. These are the classics, but I missed out on a lot of the other songs I was hoping that they would play.
When many years ago, I saw Alice Cooper and the Scorpions play in Camden, New Jersey, and Alice Cooper was amazing. Still to this day, the best concert, half of the concert I've ever seen. The Scorpions were the Drizz.
Oh, no.
And they were horrible. They sounded horrible. Everything was bad. And then they refused to play Rock You Like a Hurricane.
What?
Yeah. And they don't have a very long album, discography going. And they were horrible. And we left because it was because they refused to play. We were just they were in their encore, and we just walked out. About 70 of us, 80 of us all around this area just realized when they said they weren't going to play the song. And we stayed with, because it took us a while to get out of the damn building so we could hear everything they did. They never played it. God, they were horrible. I now get mad at them hearing them on radio. That's how bad they were.
Who is the worst band you've ever seen?
Oh, probably the Scorpions.
In the chat, list who's the worst concert or worst band you've ever seen live.
I mean, even I went to ones I wasn't even really wanting to go to, where like No Doubt and Tori Amos.
You didn't want to go see No Doubt?
Not really. Wasn't my thing. Tori Amos and
Funny not be your thing.
Jewel. Even though Jewel was gorgeous, but I've been to concerts with girlfriends they wanted to go to, and they all did very well, and I enjoyed it. It's not like I didn't like any of it, but it wasn't my particular kind of music.
Willie, are you telling me that you went and saw the Rolling Stones and it didn't deliver? That's horrible. I saw them back in 2002. I flew to Oakland with my buddy. We literally spent the night in the airport. Pearl Jam was opening. We stayed for Pearl Jam. We stayed for about 10 Rolling Stones songs. And like that night, I decided, you know what? I think I kind of like the Rolling Stones because they did like Paint It Black. They did Start Me Up. They did Sympathy for the Devil, which that became one of my favorite songs from them. That was a good show.
I think DK saw him in 1832.
Yeah, he was there with what's his name? Keith Richards.
Yeah, I've never seen the Stones. I had some friends.
I don't.
Who went to see Willie Nelson like 2 or 3 years ago.
Oh no. I mean, it's pretty cool, but I don't think he's still playing at a high level anymore. I mean,
he's playing at a high level. He's been playing at a high level since he's been playing music.
Or maybe he was playing high. But no, they said that he can't sing anymore. So he just like speaks the lyrics, or he lets the audience sing them instead. Like he'll start it out and then just let the audience sing the rest of the song. They go, but he like did not sing a single song. Most of it was just, he would speak them.
So DK, who was the worst artist you saw though?
Who was the worst artist I saw? Nobody famous.
Okay.
It was a opening act. I don't do a lot of concerts.
Okay.
Because of some of my social anxieties.
Sure.
But I went to one, and there was an opening act, and they were so bad. And
how bad were they?
Like they did covers, and nobody knew what the songs were. They were basically a cover band, but instead of singing like a number one hit, they sang like just some random song on one of the albums, and not very well. And I think because they didn't sing very well or play very well or look very well, I think that's why they did these off cover songs, because then, you had to be a really big fan of that group that they were covering to know the song.
We went to it was a tribute to Van Halen, a cover band called Van Halen. And you would think like, oh, that's going to be the drizzling shits. They were really good. Like the guy playing the guitar, I mean, he wasn't Eddie Van Halen, but I mean, he was a number 3, really close number 3 to being Eddie Van Halen. It's like, why aren't you just in another band playing the same exact way for another band instead of doing this? But that was a fun show.
Probably makes more money this way.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Worst concert I ever went to is and I'm not a huge fan, but it was the Black Crowes. And I was it was one of those deals where like my brother loves concerts and he's been going to concerts since he's been old enough to drive. He bought a bunch of tickets because he wanted to take my sister's friends to go, because they were all, they're only about 4 years younger than my brother, and he was like, 22, and they were all like, 18, 16, in that ballpark age. And here I am, like 14, having no desire to see this band. I have no desire to see this band at all. And I get dragged out to it, and I'm like, okay. And it was not good. I think it was Live and the Black Crows, and I just,
I like Live.
Live was okay, but the Black Crow, like, I guess I just wasn't a fan of the Black Crows. I didn't know them before, but they were just okay. And I've seen a lot of bands. Like, I saw Aerosmith live. I thought they were pretty good live, but that was the one concert I left, and I go, man, that was the drizzling shits.
I had a friend that went to go see Fine Young Cannibals, and he said they were terrible.
Okay.
They had that. They had that one hit song, where he does that kind of high falsetto voice, and they go, he can't do it live. So they go, it was just like it was like he was squawking.
One of my favorite concerts I went to was the last time I got to see Chris Cornell. I saw Temple of the Dog. And those of you who don't know, Temple of the Dog was a tribute band. Half the members of Pearl Jam and a few members of Soundgarden worked together. And before Chris Cornell took his life a few years ago, he was still performing at high levels as well. But his voice certainly had changed. And, in the early 90s, mid 90s, even late 90s, he was hitting these really high octane level sounds. But by, the end of 2000, like the mid 2000s, he was like kind of unable to hit those notes anymore. Still sounded incredible, but he just couldn't hit them the same way. But it was still great to see him, and I was so excited about what was going to come next. And then just a few months later, he took his life. So that kind of was depressing.
With no argument, though, the best band ever is Dr. Skeech and the Shrimp Shack Shooters.
Oh, you cannot tell me otherwise, good sir, because I have brought you here for I'm Spartacus. See, we have inside jokes. People don't know this, but we have inside jokes.
I can't wait. DK, would you ever go see First to 11?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if they came here somewhere local, I would, yeah.
They have been twice.
To Dallas?
Area. Close enough that he could have went to it.
Yeah, I don't follow their schedules.
I'll let you know next time. I can't say I'm exactly friends with Audra anymore, but I'd still like to go see her.
What'd you do?
Nothing. She got famous and busy. More well known and busy. I got a boyfriend, so I really don't spend time talking. So.
Yeah,
but if you're looking for a band that's an extremely good cover band, look at a First to 11. First to 11, not First of 11.
That's First to 11. It was funny. One night I was listening to different cover bands on YouTube because sometimes I just think that's fun to do. And so I start listening to this one. Jaden's asking, like, what are you doing? I go, oh, I'm listening to cover bands. And he goes, my buddy Audra, sings for one of them. I go, really? I go, which one? I go, I'll look them up. He goes, First to 11. I go, I'm watching them right now.
That's so funny.
It was like, and so, yeah, I was watching them do a Kiss cover, and it was like, all right.
Was she from Full Gimmick? She's done a couple of them, but
yeah, it was the one where they all dressed as they all did their makeup like Ace Frehley.
Yeah, that was funny.
Why are you dressed like Ace? I'm the guitarist. I'm the singer. I'm the leader.
I'm the most popular. I get the most chicks.
No, and then
I bet you Audra got the most chicks.
Yeah, and then the drummer comes in and it's like wearing the same outfit, but like it's normal. Hey guys, nice outfits.
Man, so we did a good job tonight of not talking about the NWA or wrestling. So.
Well, it's hard to talk about the NWA when you're trying not to spoil everything.
Yeah, and I'm sure next week will be a little bit better. But again, you're exactly right. With the way the state of the NWA is, I feel like we're in such a position that the NWA, by eliminating the pay-per-views, have eliminated a significant part of the journey of a fan. Whereas when we all signed up for this, when we all started watching the YouTube channel, there was a season that can start when that season started, and then kind of naturally conclude when you got to the pay-per-view. But now there is no natural stopping point anymore, and so it's just like, I don't even know what a new season entails. Is it because they're now filming at a different location? Does that make the season end? And like, I was
kind of what they've done since they've been on CW.
I was listening to what they were talking about on this telecast. They did a couple things that they kind of were telltale signs, and one of them said, join us for next week on June 1st. Join us for the return to the Indies, as that's the go home show to the 76th. Well, 76 is in late August, and the return to the Indies June 1st. So they have all that stuff in the can basically to go through. So Crockett Cup probably won't air until like July. So we're seeing these like first round matches, but we're not going to even see more of this tournament until July, unless they decide to just show matches from the Crockett Cup now and mix it in with this content that they've already shot, which I don't think would be a bad idea, because it would still make the Crockett Cup seem important,
Supposedly there's supposed to be another show coming up, and if it's a wrestling show, maybe they can burn through some of this a little bit quicker.
Well, the model that Dave Marquez used to use, I feel like would be. I don't understand why they don't do it for the NWA, which is your start point. You film four episodes in one day, one evening, one TV taping. You can go a whole month and get that second set of tapings. That you have 8 episodes, and then at some point during that second taping, you start airing the first episode. So then you have a steady flow of 4 episodes a month, every month, as long as the show keeps filming. And if need be, you could record additional content. And if need be, you could. If the NWA is going to have an additional program, like, okay, well, then you just work around that. But they're not doing that. And it's very frustrating as a fan, because, again, without that natural stopping point, DK and I just watched matches on Saturday that we're not going to see, you guys won't see until July. That seems so backwards to me.
And
like,
told us a lot of the things that had to have happened. I mean, I'll be honest, one of the reasons I haven't watched it yet, and I may go back and, skim through it just to kind of see, but I haven't watched the thing yet, was because I already know what happens.
Yeah.
And so it's like, it's already been spoiled for me. So it's just like, if I want to go back and see if this makes sense to me.
Yeah.
And that's really the only reason. I made the comment, I think it was to James H. Jackson. I was telling him, I go, going to watch the show on Saturday. I go, that means there will be almost 2 months that I don't need to watch Power, because everything's been spoiled for me from the one set of tapings. And I guess the only thing that hasn't been spoiled, based on what Gary Horn said in a Discord chat, was apparently they have crowned U.S. champions, but the U.S. champions didn't bring their belts out. That was like the one thing they protected. And I don't know why they would protect it, because at the by the tapings, they would be the champions, so it would made more sense for them to have the belts. But
so they intentionally kept the titles in the back to keep the fans who were there in suspense, all the while blowing everything else that's been
yeah. And so
that sounds like a Billy Corgan thing.
And
I'm not making my show for the marks. Well, I'm Jason. Make the show for me, please.
Well, I've heard people say, I've had like several different conversations this week. Some from people wanting spoilers, and some from people, just having conversations and stuff like that. But they were saying, well, Billy's proud that he doesn't cater to the internet fans, and it's one of those things where there's no such thing.
His whole program's on the internet. That's all he has is internet fans.
Well, that's true. But my statement's still the same. It's like your internet fans aren't like this one big solid group who all think the same way. Now, a lot of people who are going to listen to us are probably going to agree with us. But just in general, we're not one big, voting group. Jay and I had a small political talk before this. It's like, this isn't like, well, Democrats and internet fans. All internet fans think this way. Some internet fans love AEW. Some internet fans absolutely hate AEW.
Our pal Heebs, who hasn't been on in a while, but kayfabe, like, he is a devout NWA fan, right? Like, he loves the NWA, and I've got no problem with that. But he's very quick to crush AEW. And a lot of the memes that he posts, he has a meme page, a kayfabe soup. I definitely consider them a family. So if you guys aren't subscribed to them, following them on Facebook and Instagram, you should. But I love Heebs. He's funny, and his memes are great. But he crushes on AEW. But he's very much part of that internet wrestling community, the same community that DK is and that I am. And I don't crush on AEW because I'm kind of ambivalent to AEW. Sometimes I think it's really cool. Sometimes I'm just not into it at all. And I think don't let me speak for you, Jaden or DK, but I think you guys are pretty just apathetic to it. Like, I don't think you care about it. It doesn't really bother you one way or the other, if I'm not mistaken.
Question. I do watch nothing but 1980s and some 1990s wrestling on YouTube. Does that make me an internet wrestling fan?
No, it makes you a streaming fan.
But yeah, when it comes, I don't like AEW. I have not enjoyed it when I have watched it, so therefore I don't watch it. But the NWA I don't always enjoy, but I tend to still watch it because it's, recapturing childhood and stuff like that. And
I watch NWA because of this. This is the only reason why I'm watching the NWA anymore. It's not because I love the show. It's because we have this live stream, that we have a community. And how can I be an authority on the topic that I'm speaking on if I'm not watching it? So
we watch it. Well, Jay watches it, so you don't have to. And so I don't have to.
That's kind of like people on, Jim Cornette watches AEW, so I don't have to. And I appreciate that fact too. But yeah.
If only we were as funny, as entertaining about the NWA as he is about AEW.
Look, we're funny. How many times does he talk about concerts that he's gone to? Shoot.
I don't think I ever heard him talk about a concert.
All right. Hey, fuck you, Jim Cornette. Someone's gonna clip that and show to. I don't know who the hell this J Cal is, but he's a.
Actually, I'm wrong. His wife did bring him to a White Zombie concert once.
Okay, but does he have a Shy Guy?
God, I hope not.
He doesn't like video games, that's for sure.
I heard he likes. He might be a Shy Guy. I've heard some stories.
I've heard. He talks about he can't wait till the day that he finally retires completely, because he's going to get rid of all his computers.
You ever get that way, DK?
Only on days that end with Y.
If I ever retired from anything, I think I would still just do everything exactly the same. This is the Omega, the Infinity. It never ends. This is getting pathetic and kind of sad.
Is there anything else that happened at the show that's worth talking about?
Do we have any idea what's happening on the 76? Do you want to speculate?
Well, that's actually a pretty good idea because
there's nothing about this. I read the results just now, and there's nothing about this.
No, so the world tag team titles are still held by Blunt Force Trauma. Nothing changed as far as that goes. I imagine that there will probably be a showdown between the winners of the Crockett Cup and the NWA World Tag Team Champions at the 76th anniversary. Now, again, this is just another one-night taping. It's not a twofer. It's not a premium, like it's not a pay-per-view. It's a signature live event. So this is unlike years past. This will just be a one-night wrestling event.
I do like that.
I like it for the fact that for me personally, I'm going to be there. It makes my wrestling a little bit more palatable if I'm not having to eat so much at once. Well, that's a good one. Dave Scooby says, "What if Shane Douglas shows at 76 to reclaim the 10 pounds of gold?"
Yeah, he's had his chances.
Francine's looking still pretty good now.
Is he even wrestling at this point? And I don't mean to. I'm not trying to sound rude. I don't know.
I see him every once in a while, like around the West Virginia area. His name seems to pop up every once in a while.
So I'm just looking on a Cage Match, and that's not the end all be all, but it said that he teamed up with Joey Avalon to take on Austin Schmidt and Rich Maxwell, just like last weekend, in Rochester, Minnesota. And it looks like he does a lot of tag team wrestling. Yeah.
He's a former NWA World Tag Team Champion.
He was in the Game Changer Wrestling Clusterfuck Battle Royal that Microman won. That was in Philly.
What are the odds that the Blue Meanie shows up at this pay-per-view? Or Signature Live?
I'm so afraid that he's going to definitely be there. I'm looking at Shane Douglas, and he had spent an entire tour with the Canadian Wrestling Elite, which is a touring wrestling company that at one point was associated with the NWA. In February, he was there for like February 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th, 21st, 22nd, 23rd, 24th, 25th, 26th. So he spent like 11 days wrestling every day for 11 days. That's pretty something right there.
Yeah, and Canada trips are not easy trips.
No, and I mean, like, I'm looking at, it's like a Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Saskatchewan. So I mean, it wasn't like it was just one place for 20 days. It was like they toured a lot.
Hey, Jaden.
Yes.
Lou wants to know if you know any good bail bondsmen in Philly.
At one time I did, but not anymore.
Did they used to be sponsors for the events at Kashmir?
No, but they were sponsors to wrestling events in a couple of places I used to work in Philly. But I don't believe he's around anymore. I'll look into it.
That's always a good sponsor.
Why? You're looking to bail me out in case I do something stupid there? I mean, the odds are good.
It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
When and what?
I'm going to have a lot of signs. I have to ask your daughters to make them for me. I'll make sure they're mostly PJs.
We were sitting like 2 down from Sign Man over when we were there.
Oh, geez, that guy had like a whole bag of signs. And once or twice, the wrestlers just ripped the signs out of his hands. And I'm like, oh, that'll be the end of it. Yeah, not so much.
No, that's his gimmick.
I wonder if the ECW sign guy will be there. Or the hat guy.
Or a hat on a hat.
Or the guy that looks like Howard Stern.
Okay.
Those are all good questions.
And none of them do I have answers to.
Maybe the original Dudley will be there.
Dances with Dudley and Dudley and Little Snot Dudley and Big Dick Dudley were the original Dudleys.
Yeah.
Well, BD Dudley's dead. So
Yeah, he is.
Which one?
BD Dudley.
Oh, yeah.
You could say it. I just don't want to say it.
Enormous Phallus Dudley.
Yeah.
Not shocked that Jaden.
And he was the original Dudley.
I don't.
Yeah, the Dudleys were a ripoff originally of the Hanson brothers from Bloodsport. Just like the Ballard brothers.
Yeah, okay. You beat. Oh, my God. So you know the Ballard brothers?
Yeah.
All right. So am I okay to talk about personal stuff on here? Because, I mean, it's not even my business, but it's somebody else's business.
When has it ever stopped you?
One of. Wait a minute. That's funny. Luke, that says enormous Richard Dudley.
Yeah.
ERD. One of the Dudley brothers.
Ballard.
Oh, I'm sorry. I said Dudley. Sorry. One of the Ballard brothers, his name is Shannon. There's Shane and Shannon. They're identical twins, so unless you know them, personally, they're hard to tell apart. I believe Shannon is built a little bit better than Shane in terms of his time in the gym. Whatever. That's irrelevant. My wife's best friend was on like a social media app. It might have even been a dating app, and saw the name Shannon and thought, oh, I'll go out and get a drink with this person, Shannon. She was living in an area that's a little bit more remote. There wasn't a lot of people there. And so she was excited to go hang out with this girl, Shannon. Well, it turns out Shannon was a guy, and that the bar that they were going to meet at was closed. So he offered to go to the liquor store and get her alcohol, and they could go back to his place. And she's kind of naive, so she's like, sure, I'll do that. But he doesn't drink any alcohol. He actually is completely sober, doesn't drink any alcohol at all. While she's there, she goes,
This is going into a dark place, isn't it?
It's not that. It doesn't get much darker than that. She goes, so what do you do for fun? He goes, I like to rub feet. So that was the last time she hung out with Shannon Ballard.
Did she get ptomaine poisoning?
Say what?
Did she get ptomaine poisoning?
No, she was smart.
Agony of defeat?
She was smart enough to get out of there. And yeah.
Still not as good as the Jimmy Vine glass table story.
Wait, one at a time.
I said it's still not as good as the Jimmy Vine glass table story that if we ever do get Ricky Martin, he has to tell.
Well, what's funny is so after that happened, and my wife, who has went with me to like at least 100 wrestling shows, she goes, I know that name. And her and her best friend were talking about it, and then they put me on like the phone, like they were together talking about it. They put me on speakerphone, and Michelle goes, oh, Jason, what do you think about Shannon Ballard? I'm like, he's all right, I guess. I mean, and then her friend chimes in and she goes, what do you think about him, like, hitting on a girl? And I'm like, oh, if it was my friend, I wouldn't let him go out with her. And then so like I went to a third party, someone who actually knows him a little bit better, and he's like, oh yeah, that dude's a real like pea hound. He's like, I wouldn't let him near my sister or any woman I respected. So I did a lot of defaming on this episode. I'm probably gonna have to edit that out.
Allegedly. That's all.
Yeah, I mean that's all that was alleged. I think it was a dream. I don't know. Can we end the show?
I think maybe we should now.
If not, the lawyers might. We got to call Stephen P. New.
Yeah, I think now's a good time to end the show. I'm sorry. It's been a long week, and I'm thoroughly exhausted. And
I regret putting out the Ballard brothers.
Yeah, well, that was your mistake. And there's the king.
Yes.
Oh, Jaden, do you want to see what our pal got us? I can show you a sneak preview. Is that okay, DK? Can I show him?
Yeah, that's fine.
I assume that's what you already showed me.
probably, but Jay's half dead, so we'll let him do it.
Yay! Look how shiny.
I'm trying to figure out like where should I put it? Do I get another shelf and just kind of mount it up here?
I think you guys should both wear it while you're on.
Well, we'll wear it when you wear it with us.
I'm wearing it right now.
I'm not wearing nothing at all.
It's the only thing I'm wearing.
Oh my God.
In the United Kingdom, the king dissolved Parliament yesterday, and I think that this king here is dissolving this show right now.
Luthez with the line of the light. Did it ever really start?
No, it really didn't.
Good night, everybody. Tuesday, we'll be back with another show of the pre-party. I'm reaching out to the Australian promoter who will be bringing in EC3. I don't know if that'll be on the Alliance guys or if that'll be a podcast exclusive. Also, I will be talking to the promoter that is bringing out EC3 to wrestle here in Southern California, and both of those will be coming soon. Jaden, give us that dog update. Dog, what's up?
Things are in the working on something potentially with a roller derby organization. They're working something with another charity. Looking good right now. I just have to deal with bureaucracy of a school board, but hopefully they'll have something to announce for October. And if so, I hope to see both of you guys there. Other than that, check out the YouTube page. We are at 160 subscribers last time I looked. And make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and share. And also make sure you comment how much you hate Dave Dahl.
At least once a day, you should be.
Can't use the word hate, though, because YouTube flags that.
Oh, no.
It's hate speech if you use hate.
Yeah.
That's no good. DK, is anything exciting happening in your neck of the woods?
Hey, there's a rumor going around that there might be things happening this fall in relation to certain promotion that I'm not going to name it all, but there are certainly rumors that things are being looked at, things are being done. So I can't say. I can't say who, what, when, where. Can't give the promotion's name. But there's definitely a chance that there is something that will happen this fall with a certain promotion that some of you may have heard of before.
Tell me there's a chance.
There is definitely a possibility of a chance that an unnamed promotion will be doing something.
Guys, I very much appreciate you being a part of our live streams every Tuesday, Thursday. It really does mean a lot to me. And of course, we're hoping that in due time, we'll have that third day back up as well. The other Alliance guys, Jeremy and Dave Scooby, they're still very much a very valued members of this community. And you guys are too.
We need to sharpen that pencil soon.
Yeah, man. There's only so many hours in the day. We could do it. We just got to get it to do it. I guess what I'm saying is thanks, guys. It really means a lot to me. It means a lot to DK. It means a lot to Jaden. Your guys' support, and whether it be the Alliance blog, or if you guys helped us out with Veamos Lucha Libre, or if you're helping us out with the Dangerous Journey Wrestling Gladiators, and anything else that comes out, you guys have been very loyal and helpful, and very much a team environment. And this doesn't happen without you guys being on board with us. And I do appreciate you guys. I want to make that clear. Being able to go see my friend in Texas was super cool, but that doesn't happen unless there's a live stream to support that. And you guys have supported that. So thank you so much, guys. Thank you for being a part of this community. Thank you for being a part of this group. If you're not on the Discord, I urge you to jump on there. I've
even been on there recently.
I saw you. We are a like-minded community. We are all wrestling fans. We are NWA fans for the most part. Join her, be a part of it, and until next time, I think that's going to do it for us. So we'll see you on Tuesday. Until then, good night now. Thanks for joining the stream. This has been a presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com. We genuinely appreciate your support. Would you consider subscribing so you'll never miss a future episode? I'd also like to remind you we do a live stream every Tuesday at 5 p.m. before NWA Power. You can find us on social media at The Alliance Blog. And until next time, we are The Alliance.